All right, good morning, everybody. It's 11:30, so we'll go ahead and get started with the pre-commission agenda. I do not have a president's report today. Are there any general housekeeping items or discussion of the agenda?
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney.
I do have a couple of questions on the consent agenda, if the director has a moment.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Thank you, Director. Items 2 and 5 on the consent agenda, I get the impression that these are just due to inflation. Is that fair to say that the cost of maintaining our light duty trucks and the cost of the PPE has gone up? Is that what we're dealing with?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, I'll address the PPE first. We have been very successful at getting attempts this year and have had more attempts than we historically have. And so with that, we provide the PPE for that. And so that's just increased the cost on that. As well as some of the additional things, we had an AED that was also provided and installed at Franklin at the new building. But generally, that's the increase in cost that we've seen this year.
Okay. So, but it's an increase of 44%, which is pretty sizable for just a couple of first aid kits and some PPE. Is that? Now I noticed though, the staff report said that this increase would be good through the end of 2026. Is that correct? This goes, provides us through 2026?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, this pricing will cover us through the end of this year, and then we're going to do a new contract. So we probably won't expend the entire amount, but the 44% is sizable because the contract amount is small. So it's still a very small amount that we're adding to the contract to get us through the additional PPE that we purchased, as the director mentioned, for the temps, for upfitting Franklin. Those were just things we didn't have in the contract because we started this contract 2 or 3 years ago. It was a multi-year contract. So this just kind of ties it up, and then we're going to do a new contract next year with because this contract started so long ago, things have grown in that time. I hope that clarifies things. I'm sorry, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, it's just, it's always, and I know things add up, and that's probably I just don't have in my mind how much is adding up and how we get to these numbers. So thank you.
And the equipment is a bigger piece of that. Having the new yard built and purchasing the safety devices that go into that new yard. It's much more than buying a vest. That percentage wise is how we got to that 44%.
Okay. Then, thank you. On item 2, Director, the light duty vehicle maintenance. Oh, I suppose you can answer that.
I can answer that as well. I didn't hear the question though.
Well, this is also a substantial increase in the light duty vehicle maintenance contract. Excuse me. Are we primarily looking at inflation, or are we looking at, because we've purchased a fair number of light duty vehicles in recent years.
And this is for the maintenance, preventive maintenance and things. And we had a large expense with an engine this year that wasn't forecasted. You don't usually forecast an engine going out. So that's the primary why we went over on that contract. So this is enough to get us through the rest of the year as well.
Okay. My understanding is that for the most part, our light duty vehicles we keep them where they're relatively new, are they not?
We're a mixed bag. We've been holding on to, President, I'm having a day. Yes, President Gold, Commissioner McKinney. Through COVID, we had been holding on to our vehicles a little bit longer. So some of the vehicles are older, and we're only just now kind of getting back into the rhythm of a regular replacement cycle.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. So, and so will this increase in the maintenance contract? What's the term of that? What is the term of this contract?
Fiscal year.
just through the end of this fiscal year, so until October 1.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Nelson, did you have anything?
No,
Okay. All right. Seeing nothing else, I'll turn it over to Director Head for the director's report.
Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to visit with you today and to give you the director's report. We're excited on a number of things. I'm going to present the first part of this, and then I'll bring Jennifer back up to share with you the facilities update as was requested last week. So she will give that presentation here at the end. First thing though, we have to recognize our very own Commissioner Nilsson, who's having a birthday this weekend.
I just want to say my brand for this next year is the historic Route 66 sign. So
Excellent.
feel free to,
Excellent.
Easter egg that in communication. So
We do have some cheesecake here to celebrate here on the break, and so we're just happy to wish you a very happy birthday.
oh, thank you.
As a matter of personal privilege, I also need to take the opportunity today to wish my very own mother a happy birthday today. So
She must be awesome lady.
she is a fantastic lady. Today is a milestone birthday. I won't say which one, but it is a milestone birthday for her. She is a big fan of Ada County Highway District and is probably watching. So happy birthday, Mom. Just very grateful for her and all that she taught me. Looking at our operations here at the Highway District, our focus is and will continue to always be on building infrastructure for the public. We have a few things to highlight here today, and then we'll hand it over to Jennifer. We always seek to have our team trained at the highest level, and we had two of our team members recently be selected to participate in Leadership Meridian, Avery Forrester and Styles Clark. We look forward to their participation there and the things they'll learn and bring back here to the Highway District. Both are important parts of our team and our future leaders here. We had an interesting experience with the West Park Center Bridge over the last week. We had not once, not twice, but 3 times the railing get ripped off there. What we saw was that there are some younger individuals who decided that it would be a good idea to tear off the railing, put a skateboard jump there, and then jump into the Boise River. The police are still looking for these individuals because they have caused quite a bit of damage there. Wanted to send a thank you out to Braden and his team today because they were out there on multiple nights, and we received a special thank you from the police officers who were out there recognizing their professionalism and how they were handling this. They installed it and they went out and reinstalled it one night. It got ripped off again. And unfortunately that time they threw it in the river. And we are waiting to be able to recover that once it's safe to actually get that out of the river. We've even worked with the police and fire, and they said it's not quite safe yet to try and pull that out. And so we're awaiting that, but we are working to get that fully resolved. That side of the bridge is closed currently until we're able to get that fully repaired, and we're getting that manufactured now. But kudos to Braden who took the extra effort to be out there to handle it very well. His team did a tremendous job, and just wanted to say thank you to him today. Also wanted to say thank you. As noted last week, as expected, the Floating Feather Road is reopened. This is where we had a sinkhole caused by the water line in this area. It is not the prettiest of roads, and we're working to get, it was recently chip sealed right before the sinkhole happened, so that's not a desirable thing, but Stancy Fleener was out there as the inspector. He's one of our zone inspectors, did an incredible job. It was noted by multiple people that he had good control over the site and making sure that that was moving expeditiously. We were glad to have it open for the start of school today. So just kudos to Stancy for that great work. We have incredible inspectors, and sometimes they get tasked with really hard projects that just pop up out of nowhere. So kudos to him for that. It is back to school week for Boise and West Ada's school kids. And next week is CUNA School District. It's a big time. And we know that change in travel patterns is a big deal. And so our team is always prepared for that. I wanted to just highlight this year, not only the communications efforts that are made to encourage good behaviors and good practices around returning to school. Our team was able to this summer complete another 10 Safe Routes to School projects. It's just incredible the work that our safety engineering team as well as our capital projects team does to get out there and really emphasize getting things done in between the breaks of when school ends and school starts again to make sure that when kids go back to school, it's that much safer. So just wanted to recognize that. Our communications team has been actively out there working with the school districts to make sure the message gets out there. This has consistently been our top recognized post on social media, and this year's not. We're nearing 600 reposts and shares, so we're always excited to get how the public helps us get that message out there. But this continues to be an important message as school buses are one way in which kids get to school safely. We continue to make great progress in our chipping this year. We are at 295 lane miles. Our goal is 306. So we're at 96% complete. We are on Linder Road as we speak. It's been a challenge. We'll say maybe just the best way to describe it is police have been called on at least one occasion where someone was quite aggressive towards one of our flaggers, and so we're working to address that. But it has been an interesting experience as people are a little bit impatient in dealing with the work that's being done there. We are working very quickly. We have extra trucks bringing in rock so that we can get it done as quickly as possible, but it has been a bit of a challenge this year. So we're that is one of the big hurdles we have to wrapping up at least the chipping portion. Of course, we still have to get through the sweeping and fogging and striping throughout the rest of the system. But with where we are in the initial chipping portion, we should be able to complete all of that before the cold air comes, knock on wood. But we're grateful for how hard the team is working in that front. I would also note, I skipped over this a little bit with the back to school. Our paint crew, on top of handling chip seal, was able to get out and restripe every school crossing within a school zone. So that's been an area where it's been a little bit of a challenge some years because of staffing and the capacity and where we were in the process. And so pretty grateful for the team for working hard. One other component of that, we're pretty excited to let you know that the third striper has arrived. This will allow and increase our capacity substantially with the support the commission's had and the additional positions we've been able to repurpose into this team. That officially arrived today. I think it was a couple-year build almost. It's a pretty complex, probably the most complex piece of equipment that we have that is able to handle and manage that striping process. But we're pretty excited. It will be exactly what we need to get the crews out there and continue that work in the future.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yes, for Ryan, I was wondering if we had any plans to re-chip seal that spot on Floating Feather where the sinkhole was. That did look awfully ugly and probably not as safe or durable as we'd like to see. Madam
President, Commissioner Goldthorpe, we're still working through that. I don't have an answer to that question right now, but we'll take a look and make sure that whatever's left there is what needs to be left there to keep the road in good condition. Okay, because I know we're only a couple of miles away from it, still working on Linder, so we'll never be any closer for another 7 years. Absolutely. All right, with that, Commission, I'll hand it over to Jen to give the facilities update, and then I'll wrap up here at the end.
President Gold, Commissioners, for the record, Jennifer Behringer, Deputy Director of Business Operations. I do feel like, other than this morning, it has been a little while since I've been in front of you, so I'm really excited to give you a facilities update. So here's where we are on the timeline. This chart you have seen before. Our Franklin TOC is complete, and we had a great staff introduction to that location. As we're finalizing all of the final payments for that site, we are finding that we have about $1 million that we have saved in that contract cost. So really great work with the team, looking for those opportunities to save money where we can. Meeker headquarters, our phase 1 is done. The folks from Orchard moved over there about 6 months ago. Has it been 6 months? Yeah, about 6 months already. Phase 2 and 3 is, as you recall, we did combine those phases so that we could accelerate and get everybody into the Meeker headquarters all at the same time for this building. So we are looking at that estimated completion date at the end of October. And so we will start moving people in at that time. We're going to be doing kind of a phased move rather than having one day where everything, one week where everybody up and moves. It'll be a slower process, and we'll be relocating people into the building as groups. So primarily with our accounting team, with the end of year, we didn't want to relocate them at the most critical time of the year for them. So you'll see that kind of phased move happen October to December, but by Christmas, we'll all be in the Meeker headquarters building. Apple maintenance yard is off and running. I've got a photo of what that yard looks like right now. For future planning, as we're moving out of this building, and then we have the property across the street that we'll be relocating once Apple maintenance is complete, we are looking at a spring 2026 timeline for us to begin marketing this property for sale. So next spring, it's very exciting. And then as funds become available in the future, our USTIG maintenance yard is still on our scope for the future. So a little bit more in detail on where we are with Meeker headquarters. President Gold, Commissioner McKinney, you asked this question specifically last week about our costs. As a reminder, our purchase cost was $16.4 million. Our renovation cost, as projected, I believe the last time we presented, it might have been a little bit lower, but like 2 weeks after that, we really firmed up all of the contracts. So our renovation cost is solid at 12.9, and we do continue to look for ways to have savings on those contracts as well. So our total investment for the Meeker headquarters is $29.3 million. Couple of photos of the progress. A really big piece, you might have noticed the icon on the previous chart. Our renovation costs includes a large amount of money toward ADA improvements. The photo on the top is specifically this week, some of the work that they're doing on the curbs, curb ramps, making the ADA accessible parking more accessible. It was interesting how much parking they had assigned to ADA that was not really compliant with ramps. In some cases at all. So a lot of our investment is toward making those upgrades, both exterior and interior, with ADA accessible bathrooms, push buttons where needed, to really bring the facility up to current standards. A couple of the photos on the bottom, just you see the progress with the modular walls and workstations starting to come in. And the final bottom right one, as some of you may have seen as you enter the building, our new front desk is complete as well. Very excited about the progress at Meeker. Moving on to the Apple maintenance complex. As a reminder, our land purchase price was $5.6 million. Our design and build costs based on the architect and our CMGC are at $54.5 million with all of the guaranteed max prices that have already come to you for approval. So this is a summary of what you've already seen. So adding it up, our total investment is $60.1 million for the Apple maintenance complex. Here's the rendering of what it will look like. It's kind of hard to imagine when you look at what it looks like right now with it just being the dirt lot, but a lot of work. It's very hard to tell how much work has gone in when you just look at the dirt, but a lot of moving the ground around for the proper drainage, installing the underground utilities, the road work that needed to be done on Boeing Lane as well, to put in the curb and gutters and make that a proper road where it had been just kind of an asphalt laid over the dirt. So things are shaping up there. The bottom left inset is kind of difficult to see, but our first footings have been installed. So those will be the admin building, and we'll be putting in concrete here pretty soon, starting in that area. So I'm very excited for the Apple progress as well. So as a summary, here's kind of where we are and what our way ahead is. We are planning on the renovation completion to happen in October, with moves starting around that time and into December. And then marketing the property for sale starting in spring of 2026. Apple Yard completion in 27, with the full relocation of our maintenance team from across the street over to the Apple Yard. We are going to aim for that kind of sweet spot in the year between chip seal and winter ops to have them move, because we don't want to disrupt our what we need to do for the community for those schedules. And that is all I have. Do you have any questions, commissioners?
Commissioners, any questions for Jennifer?
Yeah, they haven't.
Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, just the complexity, like the Apple maintenance yard, like how many separate building permits do you have to track for all the structures there?
I do have that number, just not
Oh,
off
that's
the
all
top
right.
of my head.
Just looking at
Multiple.
Yeah,
Multiple, yeah.
Yeah.
So as they are starting to come in, the building permits are giving us that ability to start some of them on schedule. And then there are just some that are more complex. Obviously, the admin building is more complex than just some of the covered storage areas. Yep.
didn't mention.
Mhm.
I just want to say, you were before us last week, but
Was I?
with a whole group of
Oh, that's
people with your
right.
roadmaster.
But I was
So
presenting.
congratulations. on that. Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Madam President?
Yeah, Commissioner Pickering.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer, for your work. There's just these are such high value and complicated projects to be tracking all at the same time, and you've done a masterful job. And then also to have savings. Great job. So proud of the work that you're doing, and the work, like the TOC and all of these buildings are exceptional. So great job. I was just wondering, with the marketing for the sale of this property in spring 2026, do you have an estimate of like how long that entire process is going to be? Because obviously there's a big difference between spring 2026 to full relocation in September of 27.
Yes, President Gold, Commissioner Pickering, it is complex when you talk about the timeline for development. So knowing when we're going to vacate, knowing when developers are going to want to make the purchase, and the amount of time that it takes them for the entitlement process is all that delicate process. So we've been in discussion with some realtors and some developers to try and understand what that looks like. I do know that their entitlement process is somewhere between 9 months to a year. So by marketing it in the springtime, summertime, it kind of lines out appropriately for what the developers would need to go through the cities to make sure that their concepts are in line with the plans. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's why we're targeting next spring, because it is, again, that sweet spot for when development around us is happening, when we know that we're going to be really firm on when our move out dates are going to be, and allowing the developers their time to do what they need to do before we need to vacate, and allow them to have access to the yard.
That's great. I think I have some other questions, but I'll just talk to you offline. That's
Okay,
great.
fantastic.
All right, thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you, commissioners.
All right. Well, I'll just let you know, last thing, besides some of the back to school and budget update, on the 28th, so the day after the budget's adopted, we'll be meeting for an all staff the next morning at Cloverdale. You're welcome to attend. We'll be celebrating with the team of all the wonderful things that you all have done for them in adopting the budget, and what great things they're able to expect in their paycheck and in other ways. So we're super grateful for that. And thank you for that. With that, I'll stand for any additional questions.
Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, Brian, when's the next commission discussion on the CIP? Sorry. And you maybe just follow up with a.
Yeah, we'll
Email.
get
Yeah.
you that date.
Okay.
But it is up and coming.
Yeah.
The intent is adoption in November. And so we're working closely on that. The draft, I think we're expecting next month. to be fully available. And I expect there'll be some sharing that's going on there.
Okay, thank you.
They're still working. We'll get to it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Thanks. Great report. We'll be at ease until noon. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's now 12 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Thanks to everyone joining us in person and online. I'll also mention we have Commissioner Goldthorpe online. And please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are commission action items unless noted. I don't believe we have any requests, so is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to the regular agenda. We do not have any items on the regular agenda, so we will go to discussion items. Public communications, do we have anybody in person or online to address the commission? Okay, seeing none, the meeting is adjourned. We will go to post-commission agenda next. We've got a work session, the 2026 to 2035 year plan initial draft, presentation by staff. Welcome, Christy.
Sorry. Good afternoon, commissioners. For the records, Madam President, commissioners, for the record, Christy Enselman, Planning Supervisor. The purpose of today's presentation is the official launch of the 2026-2030. I can't believe I'm using the word 30 in my description today of the 5-year plan, the initial draft. So today I'll be reviewing highlights of the plan, as well as outreach efforts that is upcoming. And then I'll highlight some of the constructions that are coming up in the next few years. So as always, we always give you a lovely little snapshot of the year-long process that's involved with the development of the integrated 5-year plan. I know, I caught myself. It's going to take me a minute. It's been a few years that I've been saying that word in succession. So it's a year-long update. So we're going to be highlighting, we are currently at the tail end. We're almost at the finish line. So today we'll be talking about the initial draft. Between now and then, there'll be the adoption of the budget. We'll come back to you in October with a targeted adoption date of October 22nd. Just wanted to go back and just remind the commission what we have done thus far for our outreach efforts. So we did reach out to our partner agencies beginning back in December. We had a kickoff meeting. We held individual meetings with our partner agencies upon request. They had a period of time between December 5th to March 19th to provide their prioritization lists. All of our partner agencies are up on the screen, but it does include all 6 cities, the county, school districts, VRT, and BSU. We did also a public outreach, and that occurred through our integrated map, and that was January 8th through the 5th. We had 3,000 web page views. We did social media outreach, engage page emails, neighborhood group emails, our advisory committees. So we received 641 of those public comments, and from our partner agencies received 636 partner agency requests. Everything that we received through the public outreach, we provided all of that to our partner agencies so that they could use that to help inform the list that they then provide us as well. So program highlights. It's a new year. And I swear we joke around the office that it's never the same every year. There's always something different we do with the plan or some different direction. So this year we decided that we needed to reset the table. So we needed to have a different look at how we were programming our projects. And these are some of the highlights that were part of that conversation in how we were resetting the 5-year table. Those include project cost escalations. That continues to be a theme as we program each year. The costs are not going down. They continue to go up. And I think you guys are seeing that through the CIP process. We are also put a higher focus this year on programming our partner agencies' highest requests into construction years. And the next few slides, you'll start seeing how that's going to be playing out over the course of the next 5 years. And then also a review of all of the projects that are in the plan in compliance with those new laws. But some fun news in the funding world, we did get some additional funding. This year, we got 19.8 million through the strategic initiative funding, and that helps support the state highway system. We also got 18.4 million through federal funding for the Build Grant. That is a group of projects from the Access to Opportunities, so that'll be excited to get those moving forward and built. So those are fun money coming in, but we also need to discuss our VRF funding. When we built this program, we did assume that the VRF would continue, that we would get potentially that revoted in. Currently, it does sunset in 2028. So our plan goes through 30. We just made an assumption that that will be voted in. If it does not, then we lose that funds. And then we also, this program also does not include the impact fees, if we're raising the impact fees and what that would do to our collection. So depending on how that will play out, the next update will reflect more of what we anticipate that we will collect in impact fees for our projects. So fun highlights are the construction projects we have coming up in the next few years. As always, the first 2 years of our plan are tied directly to our budget. So you see this reflected in the budget adoption later this month. So I just wanted to highlight for 26, some of those projects are finishing out more of the Houston corridor to tie into that Highway 16. We have a few Linder projects that are going for construction next year that are high priorities for our partner Eagle. And then we've got Liberty coming up for construction. This doesn't include the railroad crossing. That one we still have some things to work out, but the rest of the project we do have listed there. And then for 27, we were able to accelerate those Franklin Road projects. This will complete the entire Franklin corridor out to the county line. And then additional, some more of those USTIC projects. And again, some high priorities from our partner agencies like 10 Mile and Deer Flat, Stoddard, things like that. So we've got some really great projects coming up for construction. And I did want to highlight that the stars on there, those are all the projects that are being supplemented with the strategic initiative funding. And then for the out years, when we say out years to the 5-year plan, it's just not the first two. So it's 28 through 30. So these we typically overprogram a little bit, but I wanted to highlight how we were implementing that focus on our partner agency requests. You will see a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s up there. So those are our top priorities from our partner agencies in the 2 categories that we asked them to provide rankings on. So we asked them to provide rankings on road and intersection, and we asked them to provide rankings on safety and compliance, formerly known as community programs projects. So you see a lot of those, and these are all projects that we have construction years now identified in the program. So that is exciting to get some of those moved forward. There's a total of 264 projects and programs in this draft plan. And not everybody likes my little bouncy, but I like the bouncy. So it's about $1.2 billion of total programming in the plan for these projects. If you'd like, I can sit on this for a second or you can move on. It's a lot. I know it's a lot to take, but we're excited about how many projects are on here.
Commissioner Nielsen.
Yeah, Christy, appreciate this. You know, I see where we have concept studies and then followed with construction, but you know, we had a concept study for Nez Perce and I'm not seeing it. How do we work with our partner agencies to get those on the priority list? I mean, there's a partnership there, but maybe it might be something I'd look into.
Yeah, Madam President,
Yeah.
Commissioner Nielsen, we work with our partner agencies every year.
Right.
As you see, their lists continue to grow. I mean, funding plays a big impact on that. So we work with the cities and the school districts. We do put more emphasis on the schools. I know in that area, their focus changed a little bit simply because Owyhee Elementary closed. And now there's an area that used to walk and had facilities to a degree to go to Owyhee. Now all of those children are now going to move to Hillcrest. So that was a bigger need for them. So that's why you'll see that project accelerated into the plan with a construction year. So it's based on each one. We give them all the public outreach, but of
Yeah.
course,
Okay.
continued communication on working with them. And if you do wonder why there's multiple number 2s or multiple number 1s, it's because of the 2 different groupings.
Mhm.
It might be their number 1 of road and intersection and their number 1 of their safety and compliance projects.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yes, for Trish's benefit, some of the times when we deal with our partner agencies, the decisions, at least from my point of view, wind up being political more than any other reason. And so I know that it has benefited my district and me about as much as anything that we've done when I have exerted a little bit of pressure in asking the questions and asking them to put certain projects on their priority lists a little higher than maybe they do. But that's just my experience.
Thank you.
So then moving on, just wanted to highlight the Director and Chief of Operations and Maintenance met with commissioners in order to talk about some feedback specifically on some projects. So on the screen are some of the projects that were discussed, as well as staff recommendations. 2 projects staff would recommend moving into the 5-year plan. The first one is a standalone crossing project at Cynthia Mann Elementary School. That was tied with the Hill Road Castle to Outlook Avenue project. That has already been designed. So we are looking to pull that out and do that as a standalone because that would help support the school in that area. And the other is the Warm Springs and Millbrook intersection. So adding that to the plan with 30% design in fiscal year 28. It is right on that cusp of our partner agency ranking. So that one, we felt comfortable pulling that one in to start looking on that. So just for the commission, for you guys, I put in here, if we've scoped it, if we're looking at RPI, what the current rank is from our partner agencies.
Mhm.
And then I will hold on this one and look to the commission for any additional comments, direction, feedback.
Commissioner Nielsen.
First of all, yeah, thanks for putting some design money in for the Warm Springs Millbrook. It was a little lower ranked, but it was the one project when we got the partner agency comments and letters of support. It had the most letters of support of any other project in my district. I don't know. It kind of really stood out for the support for it, even though it didn't get up on the rankings per se. So I appreciate that. And regarding the Linden Street, I think that's fine, but is the intersection of Boise Ave and Linden a separate project in the program? I meant to check that.
Madam President, Commissioner Nielsen, no, that's all one,
Is it
that's all part of one
included with the
project.
study?
Yeah, we didn't, when we did the concept study for that one, we didn't break it into phases, but it certainly could be. But again, that would be, we would look to direction as well from our partners on
Yeah.
how they would like us to move forward with that project.
Mhm.
And right now, it's just not, even with the school district,
Yeah.
not coming in super high. There is existing infrastructure on that corridor.
Mhm.
Obviously, we did identify that it needs improvements,
Right.
but it isn't lacking that immediately adjacent to the school. And the intersection, yes, we did identify the needs there.
And President,
Go ahead.
another question, I just saw a news report and it made me wonder, it'll probably be a couple weeks till we know. But I know some of the districts experienced very high and unanticipated high enrollment in some school areas. And I wonder if some of those we should probably see if there's any need for projects or something, maybe short-term or temporary, to deal with the incredibly high enrollments, I guess, at some, particularly at elementary school. So I'm just kind of putting that out there as something on
Yeah.
my to-do list in a few weeks when those enrollment numbers get published. So
Yeah, Matt,
Oof.
Madam President, Commissioner, so I would just say that we have a really great line of communication with all of our school districts.
Yeah.
And the president, I've already received a few emails
Yeah.
about asking for some improvement. So we generally
Yeah.
will work closely with them on that. And
Mhm.
especially our safety engineering team has been
Yeah.
instrumental in helping make some of those happen. Like with the switch with Owyhee, we already have a crossing in place before the school started to help with some of those things. So yeah.
Appreciate
Agreed.
that. Yeah.
Madam
Commissioner
President.
Pickering?
Yeah, thanks, Christy, for your work. I know how it's so much work to get to this point, so thank you for that. I think admittedly, I'm not pleased with the idea of holding Northview from Milwaukee to Curtis, even on a concept and not programming that into this integrated 5-year work plan. It's a project that this neighborhood has been asking for years. And it's a very it's not a good use of the space and how it's currently designed. So I think a concept study absolutely has to happen within this 5-year work plan.
Madam President, Commissioners, and I just wanted to summarize some of the conversations that we had too. This was just kind of a list of projects. We wanted to bring it in front of the full commission, and if that's direction that you would like us to take, we're happy to do that. The ones that we identified any difference from what we showed you were just things that we found that within the program we could make some minor tweaks. So that one, if that's what the commission would like, we'd be happy to add in a concept design for that.
Yeah, and I think just adding on to that, especially the heightened awareness around what projects can move forward given legislation, that section of road in Northview, it's connects there's 2 elementary schools that are either on or adjacent to Northview, including a park and a city pool. Yeah, it's in between some, an arterial, Curtis, and yeah, connects folks into the bench, right? And making sure that they can move safely. It's just not an efficient road, and my citizens deserve to have a concept.
Commissioner McKinney, did you have anything?
I'm still going through all of the details and I'll have some feedback coming shortly.
Okay. That, what Commissioner Pickering is talking about, does that have any impact to the overall, adding a concept within that 5 years?
Madam President, Commissioners, I look to the commission for that direction.
Okay.
It's something I think potentially could be added into the out years if you're looking for timing of it. But I look to the commission for direction on that.
Okay. Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, just one other thought on the Warm Springs and Old Penn. I know the Botanic Garden's going through a master planning process, so that might be good to maybe see what their timing is, to see if maybe there's a kind of a partnership there for the concept plan, not knowing what all's being anticipated. If there's a traffic transportation component to their master plan, that'd be an opportunity to work together on that.
Anything else? No. Good, moving on. Okay. Yep. Okay, then I just wanted to highlight, we will now start our second round of the public and partner agency outreach. We will release the draft plan and the interactive map starting tomorrow. The partners and the public will have until September 10th to provide feedback on that draft plan. That gives them about 4 weeks, and that's about what we do each year. Is shown to be pretty successful. So we'll send direct invitations to all of our partner agencies, as well as providing them updates to their priority list and how all those projects kind of fell out. And then public outreach will be the interactive map. You can, similar to what we've always done, or at least recently, you can click on a project and provide your feedback on that project. We will also send out the Engage emails to everybody that is registered with the Engage page. I checked with communications and there's about 20,000 people currently that are registered on the Engage page that will get a lovely email about participating in the 5-year plan feedback timeframe. So we're excited about that. Last year it was 12,000 and we got a lot of comments. So I'm excited to see a big number of feedback from this. And then this is just a little snapshot of the integrated 5-year work plan, the interactive map, similar to last year. The setup is very similar in that the very first tab at the top, that is all the projects that are proposed to have some portion of the project being worked on over the next 5 years. They're color coded by construction year. That last line that's the blue is in the pipeline. That just means we don't have a construction year identified yet, but some portion of that project will have work done in the next 5 years, whether it's concept design or right of way. That portion is in the plan. And then that very last tab, the Beyond 2030. Again, this is a great resource for our partners and the public. So this is, and I did count them. These are all of the projects that we have. We don't have any work in the next 5 years, but they are identified as potential projects to move into the plan. And those projects all come from our partner agencies. They come from the public. They come from all of our adopted neighborhood plans. They come from the CIP. They come from our bike master plan. So we have a lot of resources that feed into all of the information here. And I did count them, and we are over 1,100 projects that are out there. So we do not have a shortage of projects, but we are also always happy and willing for the public to let us know of any additional gaps that we haven't captured. And when we do receive those, they get added to the map, and that gets updated regularly as well. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything on that page because I tend to. And then with that reset, there were some projects that did move from 5-year into that future with the reset. Some of those were like we had a reset of our rankings for our bridge program. And so there were bridges that moved into the plan that were a higher priority when inspections were done, and some moved out and vice versa. So you will see some of that. And I do have a link if you want me to jump on and drive and show you a little bit. If not, I know you guys are all pretty familiar with the map as well, but I'm happy to do that as well while I'm up here. And then next steps. So we are entering the public outreach for the next 4 weeks. Christine will be back in front of you on August 27th for the budget adoption. On the October 8th, I will be back in front of you to review what we heard from our partners and the public on maybe any recommended changes to the plan based on that feedback. And then October 22nd, I will be back in front of you for an adoption. And I will stand for any questions.
Any questions?
Madam President?
Commissioner Pickering?
Yeah, I think, quick question, Christine. I know you talked about, resetting the table. We've talked a lot about reflecting this 5-year plan with each of our partner agencies' top 3 priorities. So can you talk a little bit about, obviously there's a lot to unpack here, but generally speaking, were you able to accomplish that? What's kind of your feedback to us on that?
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, I feel this plan is very reflective. We tried to hyper focus on their top 3 in each of those categories. And there are a few that we were not able to move into the plan. Generally, a couple were compliance issues with the new laws. Some of them because of that, but so we would drop down to like their 3, 4 or 5 and try to move those forward. We did have some really great discussions with our partner agencies to better understand what their needs were and kind of did some resetting of what their top priorities. But generally, I'd say very successful getting construction years on a vast majority of the top 3 of our partner agencies. Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, or Justin or Christy. Hey, I just was curious. I mean, I like the map by year, but is it possible to do even just a static map? I know it's in the listing of the road projects versus the community program projects. Because I know in my district that we have more community program, the smaller scale things. And I always try to visually represent that, that those are important to my district.
Madam President, Commissioner Nielsen, we did that in the past.
Oh,
That used to be how we did the map. It was all the projects and then it was by program.
yeah.
And what we heard from the public is
Oh,
they wanted
care.
to know more about when.
When.
So it was
Okay.
more important when those projects were happening
Uh-huh.
versus the program.
Yeah.
So last year, I think, was the first year we changed it to the years. So we, but we
Missed it, right.
can do that. It is definitely a possibility to do that because we've done it in the past. It's just, we try to make sure, we want to make sure that we are putting a tool out there for both our partners and the public that they're going to use, and it
Yeah.
means something to them in a
Okay.
way that they can get that data. So yes.
I'll noodle on that. some more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yes, again for Trish, thank you very much for that question. I've been asking it ever since we dropped that myself because it's far more helpful to me than what we currently have.
Oh, okay.
Madam
Commissioner
President.
McKinney.
Yeah, Christy, could you send this presentation out to each of us? I'd like to have this to be able to refer to.
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, of course I can.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks very much, Christy. Really appreciate all your work and all the information and the effort to, reflect the partner agency's priorities and kind of simplify what's in here so it's easier to digest. Justin?
Madam President, members of the commission, thank you. I just wanted to kind of clarify on this slide how we plan to proceed. We put up in blue the changes that we were going to make. We did hear from the commission today. I just want to clarify how we would interpret that as staff. We're going to go ahead and then move Northview into a concept. We didn't hear any discussion about that. So I just want to close that loop. When we're asking for commission direction, generally if a commissioner makes a request, there's not a lot of discussion about it. We'll go ahead and move forward with that. So we wouldn't be able to put it within the budget years, but 28, 29, something like that. We'll go ahead and move that forward. So those would be the changes that we'll be making. Hill, Warm Springs, and Northview would be the ones that we're going to take action on after this work session. Just want to clarify that. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Justin. Commissioner Nielsen.
Sorry, another thought is, I was going to start to look at when the neighborhood groups in my district are meeting, and it's kind of a chicken and egg, and I'll maybe work with Shandy. If do we have something we can hand to people who are at a meeting, with these dates and the links and all that, or QR code or something?
Yeah, Madam President, Commissioner Nielsen, we are also, last year we did this and it'll be in draft form, but we'll do a cut sheet of
Oh,
some
okay.
highlights. And over this last year, communication has done an impeccable job, even tailoring some cut sheets to each neighborhood area. And so I would assume that practice would continue. And we work in close coordination to get the data over to them. We also have the report that we break apart by neighborhood planning area.
Yeah.
That will be available on the website. So that is also something physical if they would like to have that. And then our program, we can also print other types of reports in different format if that is something that they would prefer to see. So there's other ways we can get the data, but yeah, no, I think we're going to have several things that can be handed out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for today. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone.
It was helpful.